All right, everyone. Welcome back to Miller Dollar Listening with Chris Restu, your host. And I have a special guest, Simon Polito. He's out of Southern California. We're going to go into tons of great information today, but you want to stay tuned in because Simon is a man with many talents. I'll tell you this right now. As you can see, he's a fashion designer, number one. Fashion model, number two. He's like, oh, you're putting me on the blast right now, Chris. He's got 2 or 3 different businesses as well. He does a lot in the real estate industry. He's been around for 20 years. But enough about our introduction. Let's just get into a little bit about who Simon is and where you're from, and just give us a little bit of a backstory about you.
Absolutely. Chris, first and foremost, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I know you're a hard man to get a hold of and your time is valuable, so I appreciate you, number one. I guess my name's Simon Polito, obviously born and raised in not the United States. By my accent, you can probably notice that. I am from Australia. Born on Sydney's northern beaches, so I love living in California because it's the most relatable place to what I'm used to. But been doing real estate for 22 years. Started at the tender age of 17 in the industry. Worked my way through the ranks. I've done a little bit differently in Australia, where you normally start in the property management area and you work your way to being someone's assistant. Then you think you're too good and you go and fail and you start all over again. You do that a couple of times.
I love it. So you think you're too good. There's not a lot of difference between here and there in that category then, right? Very simple.
Well, we've all been there when you're someone's assistant and you think, oh, it's too easy. I can do this, make more money than them, and you really can't. But, so you got to, trial and error.
Trial and error for sure. We all got to fall once in a while. So tell us a little about Sydney, Australia. Tell us about it in general. I mean, like you said, California seems very similar to that in SoCal. Like, what made you make that change from Australia to California? Like, what kind of brought all this on?
Yeah. So look, I'm not going to lie, I was doing exceptionally well in Sydney. Sydney is one of the top 5 cities in the world for real estate. It's extremely expensive. I mean, I used to sell 1-bedroom condos for $1 million without parking. That was it. That's where they started the values at. And you'd have a line of 100 people out the front waiting to get in. And we'd only do a 45-minute open house. It's pretty cutthroat. It's go, go, go. I want to say it's a combination of where San Diego meets New York. You've got the hustle and bustle of New York, but you're on a beach.
Sounds like
so you still got it's I didn't realize how good it was until I left.
Actually, Chris, after this podcast, I think I'm packing up and going back.
Well, I'm pack my bag, right? Yeah. How I got over here was it was a bit like Groundhog Day. I was in my early 30s. I was doing exceptionally well. I was one of the number 1 agents in the city of Sydney, and I just felt like I was doing the same thing every day. I was a bit bored, and I wanted to try something new. And rather than just going to a different office and locating to a different location in Sydney, I thought, well, I'm going to move it, might as well do it, on the right way. So my partner, wife, or baby's mother, is from the United States. So we moved over to the United States to have our baby, and we never left. We just never left.
There's nothing wrong with that. Never left. Awesome. I love it. Tell us a little about the family, a little about the babies. Tell us a little about it in general.
Yeah. I'm blessed. I've got 3 beautiful young kids, Elvis, Valentina, and Alessandro, 7, 4, and 1. Beautiful, beautiful kids. Again, God is great, and I couldn't be more happy with the life that I've been presented with. I've been very lucky that, I spent most of my life being told I was never going to be good enough, and then I hit every goal. Everyone told me, you're never going to find a person, you're never going to have kids, you're never going to be successful, you're never going to nothing. And it just gave me a drive to be successful and do that. So, again, I was very blessed that I was allowed to have those opportunities, and it allowed me to move across the world, start a family. And now I'm living in Irvine, California, in one of the best school districts in the nation with my kids in it, and I can give them the best future. So it's really cool.
Awesome, man. That's such great news, man. It's funny when you meet people and you get to know them, man. We all have a story, right? We all have a past. We all have like a chip on our shoulder. Any successful person's always been told they couldn't do something in life. And at the end of the day, it's what motivates you. It's like that little chip. You're like, oh, I can't do this. Sure. Watch me. Hold my beer. I'll be back. Right.
Yeah.
And it's exactly. Awesome. It's awesome to hear that, man. I love it. I love to hear where you came from and all of that good stuff. So tell me a little bit. So now you're in the United States, man. You crushed real estate in Sydney, Australia. Now you're in the United States. Holding market, probably don't know really anybody at all, right? So you started from scratch, let's call it, right? And I know there's a lot of agents out there that are like, hey, how do you start from scratch, right? Well, let's give us a couple pointers, man. Like if there's agents that move all around, what would you say, like, give me 2 or 3 things of like how you started from scratch to get where you are today?
So the hardest thing first and foremost, which you guys probably won't have this issue with, I had to learn the imperial system.
And yeah.
You know that no one else in the world uses that, right?
Yes, that is true. You know what's funny? That is not where I thought you were going to go with this, but it does make 100% sense.
No, I had to learn. I had to go real deep. Like I literally started from scratch. I had to learn what a square foot meant. I didn't know. I mean, I don't know. How would you know if you'd never experienced it?
He's not around in there.
Learning about square feet, inches. I had no idea what any of it was. Miles, even. I had to re-educate myself. So even though I had knowledge of the industry, it was a challenge at the start because I didn't know anybody and I didn't know anything. So I was and I'm not a good reader. Truth be told, I'm a horrible reader. I like watching videos. I'm way more attentive to them. So I just started watching a lot of videos on what to do, where to work. A good friend of my wife was a real estate agent in Rancho Santa Fe in San Diego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she said, look, when you come over here, you're coming to work for me. So I had someone who took me under their wing off the bat. Again, massive learning curve. I mean, I'm coming from a country where there is no buyer's agents and there is buyer's agents. You can't be a dual agent. You can either be one or the other. It's illegal. You'll go to jail if you do both.
But it's okay here though. Crazy, huh?
Totally fine here.
Crazy. It's perfectly fine here. Man.
And there's so many more ways to make money here. This truly is the land of opportunity. And I adopted a migrant mentality. My family migrated from other countries to Australia and they made it work without even knowing the language. So if I can already speak English, well, I think I can. You guys sometimes struggle with English.
For sure.
But if I could start from scratch there, if they can start from scratch in a time where they didn't have technology that we do, I have no reason not to be able to do the same thing that my ancestors and family had already done in the past. So learned everything, followed people around, honestly. And I know some trainers and coaches that don't say this is not the way to make money. I made my first $1 million doing open houses. Open houses was the best way for me to meet people because of the way I dress, the way I talk. I love people.
Dude,
I get to meet someone face to face. It's huge.
I love you. You have no idea how much I love you right now. Agents out there, I've been telling you this. I come from a retail floor. Your open house, guys, is a retail floor. These are people walking in to a house to see the product and want to have conversations with you if you just know how to talk to people. It is by far one of the best places to get now business. So Simon, the fact that you say that, and I know a lot of people out there saying, I don't want to do open houses. I want my weekends. Listen, guys, you either are going to pound the phones, pound the doors, or you work open houses and people come to you. You're going to choose, pick your poison, right? But I love it.
Exactly.
First $1 billion.
I mean, I used to do, you do 7 open houses in one day, Chris.
Oh, you're going to see tons of people.
Yep.
All day long.
I used to meet anywhere between 200 and 400 people in one day. I mean, I know you're a fanatical prospector. You're on the phones like a machine. How many calls would you have to make to get 400 contacts in one day?
Oh, tons to get 400 conversations.
You'd be there for weeks.
Yeah, weeks on end. Yeah, no, it takes a long time to
But you can do it in one day. So if you can do it in one day, you're going to fast track yourself. I immersed myself in every event I could get into. I joined every networking group that was available. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. You get the good and bad. But I got to meet people in all different industries, and I actually found by joining groups that had people in similar scenarios, maybe not in our industry, but in different industries, I got to meet people who had the same troubles trying to meet new people, make new friends, and we all came from somewhere else. So it was really cool in San Diego. It's a bit of a melting pot, sorry, and that's how I sort of kicked it off. I just went deep, and it was a struggle at the start. I was lucky enough; I had some reserves to keep me afloat, but it is challenging. But you got to let your ego go to the side, and you've got to be humble. And it's okay to start from scratch again. It's totally cool.
That's so awesome, man.
It's not beneath you to make that call. Make that call.
It's not, but I think the fact that what you said is multiple different things there. One, I swallowed my ego, swallowed my pride. I was humble. I got myself a mentor right away, right? I did the work that I was told to do to get going. And I met as many people as possible because I knew the name of the game was meeting people and having conversations. And you, like anything, even networking events, like you said, which is awesome. You said, hey, I went to every networking event and joined every one of them. Some of them were great, some of them weren't. Guess what, guys? Some open houses are good, some of them aren't. But guess what? When you do enough of them, it all balances itself out. You make enough phone calls, some days are good calls, some days are bad calls. It's the formula of consistency that you just said is the reason why you're successful at what you do, is because it's not always a little magic pill. It's, listen, I'm going to go all in and I'm going to be committed to the process, and I'm going to take my lumps along the way, and I'll make my changes and figure out where my best use of my time is. But what I heard here was, I'm going to take risk. I'm not scared. I'm going to jump. I'm going to be consistent, and I'm going to go all in. And as long as I do those things, it will all work out. So congratulations, man.
The thing behind me, I don't know if you can read it, it might be backwards. It says, take risks, make moves.
Beautiful. That's life in a nutshell, right?
You know, and it's challenging when you got kids because you're scared of taking that risk, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's more than one person that could be affected by your decision-making process. So if I was single, I probably would have gone a lot harder and push a lot more things. But I was scared. I got 3 kids, I got 3 other lives, and 4 other mouths to feed. And what you decide can just determine whether they have, a lobster for dinner or pasta for dinner. So
Absolutely. But the fact that you knew that, at the end of the day, you were going to bet on yourself. And I would tell every agent out there that's listening to this podcast, listen, at some point, you got to bet on yourself. If you want to be successful in this industry or anything you want to do in life, you just got to go all in. You got to be willing to fall and willing to take that risk and see what happens, right? At the end of the day. So outstanding job there, man. I love that. Let's go into one of your businesses, right? Let's talk about Reka, your auctioning business, and tell us a little bit about what brought this to this idea here. How do you run the system? How do people learn about it? Tell us a little about that system in general.
Yeah.
Reka.
So I normally walk around with my weapon of choice.
So
it's ironically, in the state of California, this is not considered a weapon in your car, so you're good to go, Chris. You keep this in your car if anyone gives you anything.
I love it. I'm about to pick one up from there after this. I love it.
So the truth be told, auctions, look, I didn't invent them. It's not my product. I implement the product, but I didn't create the product. And I'm not going to take credit for so. It's been around for centuries. It's one of the oldest methods of selling real estate. Mm-hmm. Not just selling real estate, selling anything. From back in the day, it's a bartering system, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's how we used to do back in the medieval days. You'd go and you trade coins for something else, and that's how you trade. So in Australia, I want to say, maybe 25 years ago, it was real estate auctions were seen the same way that they were seen here in the United States currently. It was a negative thing. It was a bad omen. You do not want to do that. It's only for distress or foreclosure, something negative attached to your property. Something changed in Australia, and I don't know what that defining moment was, but out of nowhere, all of a sudden, it became the way to sell real estate. So in the state of New South Wales, where I was living and working in, where Sydney is, the state actually recognised that auction was a method to sell real estate and actually adopted a form, the equivalent of a car form, if you will. Yeah. So you have two types of listing agreements. You had in Australia, it's called a private treaty, which is the exact same as a traditional listing. Yeah. Or you had auction. And when you met with your sellers, you had hey, which way would you like to go? Would you like to go traditional, or would you like to go down an accelerated route with auction? And that was always the option for every consumer. And you could always flip either way, no matter what. So I already was making a lot of success out of my doing auctions. I was doing anywhere between 3 to 7 auctions a month. Now, if you're doing 3 to 7 auctions a month, on average, our clearance rate was around 85 to 90%. We're selling real estate, and we're making a lot of money doing it. Now, the commission fees are a lot lower in Australia because the sellers pay for all the advertising in Australia. So it's a bit different the way it's done here. But when I moved over here, there was only one other company that I was familiar with that was doing what I knew, which was auctions. I won't name them because they're my competitor. But
we're not. Hey, there's no $1 million listening here. We're not giving them no love. No love here.
But I'm grateful for them for the point that they started the trend before I got here. They started 3 years here before me, and they're now in a couple of states. So the awareness has gotten out. Now, auction is just another tool you put in your tool belt, right? I want to be able to give everyone this option now, because I had the decision to make. Do I start an auction company, or do I just be like every other real estate agent in the United States and just go into traditional? Mm-hmm. How do I make myself, look, I dress differently, I speak differently. Hell, why not offer something different as well while we're at it, right?
Building your brand.
I started thinking about what's my legacy, right? I wanted to give something back to the community, because I truly believe this honestly is the best industry to be a part of. It's so rewarding if you do your job right. And I want to be able to give a tool to the consumer, being the agents we worked with, another tool to the other consumer, being the sellers we work with, and a transparent arena for a buyer to be able to bid with confidence, knowing that there's no games, there's no one hiding offers and playing, oh, we've got one offer when we don't really have one sort of game, or a multiple counter situation when there really isn't one. This is honest, it's transparent, and it's damn exciting. It's really exciting, right? Every time I do a demonstration, everyone's laughing, everyone's smiling. It's extremely serious. It's a very serious transaction, as we know, but it's also a lot of fun. And when I'm out there, ladies and gentlemen, here we are looking for opening bids of $500,000. When do you want to go from there? 5, 5, 5, 10, 5, 15, 5, 20, first, second, third, finished, quiet, done, sold. It's done. As soon as I say sold, we're a non-contingent purchase. Now, one of the things that makes it easy for me is that where you're located, in NorCal, you guys already do a lot of the stuff that we do with auctions already. So we do a lot of all the due diligence up front. So it might be interesting for you to hear. In 14 years of me doing real estate in Australia, I never once did a contingency sale.
Wow.
Not one.
No one.
I've never in my career had a property fall out of escrow.
All right. Those are some good numbers.
I don't know what that feels like. I'm really sorry. I'm sure it's horrible. I've never had an appraisal not come in on the money, because an appraisal is deemed on fair market value. An auction is market telling you what they believe fair market value is.
I said that's what it is.
So, as I said, this is just an honest tool, and I probably would have made a lot more money if I came to the United States and just went straight into sales. But I was looking at my longevity, again, for my future, to be able to give my kids a legacy of a business that I hope to have franchised out across the United States within the next 2 years. We are about to open up in several more states. Right now, we're just in California. I just was up in your area end of last week. I'm excited. I am looking to do some big things up there with you guys as well. So, grow your business, give you guys a tool, because the market is somewhat coming back, I feel. There's a bit of hype around right now. So getting numbers at open houses and activity, we're getting offers. I had one open house on the weekend. We had 200 people through in the last 10 days.
200 people, guys. So when you guys hear the news station saying the real estate market's going to crash, not happening, guys. No, we're seeing it here. Inventory levels are so low. Like, people don't understand. Like, we have no inventory. Like, 414,000 homes as a nation, right? Normally we'd have 800 minimum at this point to be in a normal market, right? Rates come down some more the way they have. Right? Buyers are ready to buy. They want to buy property, right? The reality of it is they're sitting there ready to go. And, you know as well as I know, sellers with low interest rates and tons of equity are like, if I don't get my price, I'm good. I'll sit here. I don't need to sell. So there's a game of, I like to say, chicken and mouse, or mice and chicken, whatever the saying is, you know what I'm saying. But sellers are like, look, if I can get my number, I'll do it. But if I'm not going to. And so until inventory levels can come up, we're just not seeing it. And so, yeah, absolutely. Multiple 20, 30 people on a day at an open house, sometimes even more. Some of our houses getting 3 to 10, 15 offers on them still. So the market definitely has rebounded, and it's really the good news, I would say. Simon, tell me if you agree with me on this one. Guys, we're in a normal, healthy market. And what I mean by that is, if seller does the right job, they market their house, they stage their house, they fix their house, they do everything right, they price the house correctly, hire the right agent. Chris Stu over here in Northern California, Simon down in Southern California. Yes, you heard that. We're going to give ourselves plugs here, right? And then you're going to make as much money as possible, right? Like, that's the reality of it. But if you don't do that, buyers are going to be able to get deals. They'll be able to work their magic. They'll be able to, sellers will sit on the market. They'll get nervous, and buyers will be able to get a deal on a property. So both sides can finally kind of win a little bit here, compared to being one-sided in the last 5 to 7 years, right? It was just crazy mayhem. So, no, I would agree 100% there. So
that's why we offer it. It's just another tool in these markets. I love especially. Look, as the market went really quiet the last 6 months, let's just say, from July, August last year, really sort of tanked on us. We didn't really know where we stood. It was happening really quick. People were struggling with getting numbers through open houses. People were struggling with getting inquiries. People were just struggling in general. Right? The amount of agents that called me that had not worked outside of the COVID market, that were saying, we don't know what's happening. We put a property on the MLS. We haven't got any offers in our inbox. What's going on? I'm like, well, you actually have to do what your job entails, believe it or not. It doesn't sell, things that sell themselves. You've got to know your product. And your product, number one, is yourself. Number two is the clients. And number three is the product that you need them to sell for them. Because we are trusted advisors, Chris. We give advice, but we can't do that without the trust of the client.
100%.
You've got to earn that trust. You
Can't give
trust. So with auctions, we do a 1 hour open house twice a week for 3 weeks. And on the 4th weekend, you have a live auction at your home. When a bidder is there, and I don't have a paddle next to me right now, but when someone's got a paddle, for example, and they're raising their bid, they're bidding on a non-contingent purchase because they've already been given all that due diligence up front. They've done their reviews. They've already spoken with their lender. They're pre-underwritten, not pre-approved, pre-underwritten. So that, again, they have confidence themselves as to what level they can bid up to. And then my job's kind of to squeeze every other last dollar out of it. So
how much fun is that? How much fun is that?
Heard the crowd. Oh, I love it. Like it can get awkward at times. But I mean, when we're doing an auction, we invite the whole street. It's out in the front yard, generally speaking, and everyone's around. We normally have a film crew there. We normally have a taco truck or a coffee truck, a coffee cart. Everyone's doing things, but then you always see that husband with the wife, and the husband doesn't want to be there, right? He never wants to be there. He does not want to bid on the house. He wants to be watching the football, the baseball. He's got many other better things to do. Well, I can tell you this, God help that man, because I know that's the guy I'm going to get the most money out of. I'm going to hone in on that guy like nothing else. And I'm going to, you'll see the sweat coming outside his face, cursing at me with lip signs. It's like, I've got to make everyone feel that this is your chance. Yeah. You know, hey, Chris, you've been to the home 5 times now. Don't miss out. I see your wife right next. Do you want to go home to an unhappy wife or a happy wife, Chris? What would you rather do today?
Happy wife. I've already lost this.
And everyone in the crowd's laughing. Right? Yeah. It's the pressure. So what this auction does is it makes someone do something they ordinarily would not do in a traditional sense. And because the way our process works is we have people wire in. To be able to play, you've got to pay. Yeah. And you've got to pay 8% you've got to wire that into an escrow account before you get the paddle. So when I say sold,
I already got
escrow's already open. Funds are received. Non-contingent contract is signed immediately on DocuSign. Guess what? Seller's secured, buyer's secured. It's a win for both. It's not like we're trying to do anything wrong by any other party. It's to give them both the assurance that, Chris, you're a buyer, you've secured that home. You can go home now and not have to worry about looking at homes tomorrow when you're any more real estate photos or in your text messages. And the seller can go out and have a nice dinner, relax, and not have to worry about a 17-day contingency that could fall over at any time. Yeah. So it's just about making the process easy and offering another option out to everyone. And we are the cheapest out there in the marketplace. We only charge a 2% fee for our service. And that is sometimes worked a different ways. Sometimes the seller pays, sometimes the buyer pays, sometimes the agent tips in a little bit as well. I'm okay where, as long as we get it somehow, I don't mind how we get it. It's about making it work for all parties involved.
Got it. So it's 2% for you guys to come in. Seller can pay, buyer can pay, mixture of seller, agent, buyer. Doesn't matter how you get the 2%, just give me 2%. And then something you said earlier, I want to go back to. It's 4 rounds of auctioning, so there's 3 rounds before?
So 3 weeks of open house.
Oh, 3 weeks open houses. Okay.
Yeah. So you're going to be showing this property for a total of 6 hours in total. 6 1-hour open houses before we have the official auction itself. So you're giving everyone a fair chance to come and look at the property, do their due diligence. Now, having said that, one of the most unique parts of our program is that you don't have to go to auction. You can make an offer before at any time. To be honest with you, in the last year, I haven't called one auction in the last year because that's the way the market was going. Properties weren't lasting more than a couple of days on the market. In fact, in Irvine, where I live, the average days on market last year was half a day.
Wow. Okay.
It didn't last the whole day. So I can appreciate no one wants to sit on the market for 4 weeks when you can have it locked up in a day and you can close within 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So this is our market right now. We are really strong in this market. We had an open house on the weekend. Like I said, we had 65 groups through in 1 hour.
That's a lot, man. Talk about building a frenzy. Like everybody's like, and now you're getting everybody walking in, they want it now, right? And then they want to win, and then they want the emotional attachment. Like you're just buying right into it, to how people are, how they basically work in general as humans. That's phenomenal. So 1 hour, 60 groups. So you must have a whole team there. Then it can't just be Simon, right? Like you can't talk to so many people. That's a minute per person.
You can't talk to every person.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the tactic that we approach, right?
Yeah.
Because no one's going to get into our open house without giving us their name and their number and their email address. I don't care if it's the president, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get your name, your number, and your email address when you come through the house. 1, for security. 2, for your health and safety. So in case someone gets the virus, that we're still somewhat in the pandemic, I guess. And the third one, we're going to give you a call back within 24 hours. We're going to ask you, if you like the home, what do you like, what didn't you like, and what would you pay? Pros, cons, and price feedback. Our seller gets that report twice a week. So the seller is getting raw, direct feedback from the market. Hey, Chris, following your open house on the weekend you're in Concord, right?
Yeah, we're in Concord, Antioch area, yeah. In general.
So, following your open house in Concord on the weekend, we had the following groups through. Mr. and Mrs. Brown liked the kitchen, didn't like the backyard. They weren't doing it. You as a seller can now make an educated decision as to when you get an offer to compare it against the feedback, whether that's a good offer or not.
Yeah.
It takes away a lot of pressure from the agent, which is normally like, hey, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here are the comps. It looks like the comps say we should be getting this much money if we do this. And if we don't, what do you want to do? We're not talking comps. We're talking, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, the market said they would pay this much money for your home right now. Mm-hmm. What would you like to do? So it's just a more direct, honest way to get everyone to, one, realize what the market value is and pay what they're comfortable with paying.
Yeah, no, it seems like a win-win for everybody. It's very transparent. You're giving it many options, and you're saying, like you said, this is one option. They can still go traditional sale. You're not forced to do one or the other. It's just, like you said, it's a tool in your tool belt, right? It's what makes you stand out, right? And I can see how this market is going to change. You're definitely going to see more of that, what you're doing compared to the market we were just in. So it's actually perfect. So
how do you attract people to real estate? There's 2 things, price and image. That's it. Mm-hmm. Price and image is what's going to attract someone to a home. We live in a digital age. It was the reason why TikTok and Instagram are so popular, and YouTube, because there's no reading involved. It's just viewing.
Yeah.
So if you have phenomenal imagery on your property or phenomenal multimedia, and you have for an auction, let's just say your home is $1 million. If a traditional agent listed it, they'd probably list it between 950 and 1.05.
Yeah.
I'm going to list it at bidding to start from 700,000.
You're getting everybody's eyes.
I'm taking you out. I got everyone's eye. Now, everyone knows it's topping to sell for 700.
Yeah.
But it gets their attention initially. Think of an Apple phone. Same thing. We market it for we market on a Monday. We go active. We don't have our first open house until the Saturday. You're not seeing that home for 5 days. So when that Saturday comes, there's a line of people waiting to get in. Because there's no lockbox and there's no by appointment. You're only going to see the property via our set schedule of open showings, which is 1 hour twice a week, 3 weeks. So it just creates a market when the media, like you said, is talking it down.
You're just building urgency. You're just building your own market, basically, is what it becomes. It's just like, look,
we have to.
And you have to, right? I mean, that's supply and demand 101, right? Like, if I give somebody 8 hours to come to my open house on a Saturday, right, you'll have some people just come in when they have time, whenever they feel comfortable. There's no urgency. There's no, there's a lot of people here that want this house. They're like, it's probably going to be on the market for a couple more weeks, right? You force people with 1 hour, and then you give them 5 days to sit on there, and they're like, babe, we have to go. And as well as I know, we said it earlier, happy wife, happy life. What are you doing Saturday at 1 o'clock? Well, we're going to go see this property because my wife wants to go see it, and I don't really have an option, right? So you literally have people for 5 days just waiting to see this property to then come into the house and see everybody else doing the exact same thing going,
that's it.
Now I want to win. Now I want the house. Babe, I want the house. Like, what do we got to do to get the house? And then they go home and they realize we got to make it work. And now you're just getting them right to where you want them. And here's the good news for the buyer. They get the property they want. They're happy. They're willing to pay the price they want to pay. Nobody's going to force them to pay what they don't want to pay. So they get that. And seller goes, I know that my house has been seen by as many potential buyers who want to buy my house and ready to go. So it's a win-win for both parties. And the seller sells it if they get the price that they want. So I actually love it. That's great.
It's consumer confidence. When the consumer confidence is down because the media does create fake news, they have to sell news. That's their job. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they report delayed information, and they don't talk about the good stuff. And by that time, we've got to create our own market. And the consumer's got no confidence. How do we give confidence? By showing them their competition.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I know the market's going down, but there's 55 other people here right now that are looking at the home just like you are. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's going to make it to auction. I know you like the home. What do you want to do? So, and here's all the due diligence. Here's a link. It goes. We use disclosures.io, and we send them the disclosure link. We have all of their home inspection, termite report, seller's disclosures, NHD, prelim, CC&Rs for the HOA if it's part of one, permits if it's done any work. Any material facts are there ahead of time. Do your research. Come back to us with a good, strong offer. You might get it before auction.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, that's a Northern California thing. You know, all the reports set up front, like all of our listings, exactly like we do all of that, right? Because here, you're going to write your strongest offer. You're not going to come back and renegotiate with me later. We're not doing that. So here it is. And if you have any questions, you know, do your work. This is your job now. Here, I gave you everything you need. Now you got to do your part and come back with a number you feel comfortable with. So it's a win-win for everybody. I love it.
Yeah.
Let
me ask you quickly. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because I'm curious about NorCal. I know you guys do a home inspection ahead of time. Do you guys do often repairs, or is it you guys always selling as is?
Well, yeah, us currently the way it's set up right now, like our company in general, and most of Northern California works this way now, within reason. We for sure, every house has home inspection, roof inspection, pest inspection, sewer lateral inspection. We have a pool, we do a pool inspection. We do everything up front, disclosures up front, disclosure IO, everything's done before we even go on the market. And with selling as is. So like for us as a company standard, as a matter of fact here, I'll look it up for you real quickly because it's the one number I don't want to mess up here. But we track all of our data, right? What's our list of sell price? What's our, giving back to the buyer?
Love that.
As a company, last year listing. Yeah, so our listing, the sell price last year was 106.12. Days on market was 13. Wow. Our average giving back to the buyer was less than $600 total for our whole entire company per transaction. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, we don't give money back. So the reason for us is like we do all that up front to protect the seller, right? If we're helping you as a seller, we want to make sure we protect your assets like it's our own money, right? And so that's why we do a lot of that up front. Now, not everybody in Northern California does it that way, but for our company, like that's what we teach, that's what we standardize, that's what we basically have done.
I love that.
And then we track it to show. We go to listing appointments. We're like, well, listen, here's our list of sell price. Here's our days on market. And it's funny, the last couple of listings we've gotten, I'm like, so what do you think the average days on market last year was for the industry? Like, 60, 70, 80, 90 days. I was like, okay, well, we were 13. Well, how'd you guys do that? Well, listen, we have a program, we have a way we do things, and we follow the system. When you follow the system, whether you agree with it or not, I promise you it works, right? There's a reason why we were able to sell houses really fast in the fourth quarter last year and the third quarter last year, where a lot of people were not able to do that. And it's not a, ego thing. It's not that at all. It's just we've put a lot of time and energy into what we've done. And the best part about it now is this is where we shine, right? When the markets change.
Yes.
We put all this work in right now. People are like, well, wow, you guys really do that. Yes, no, we do the work we say we're going to do. In the old market, we know, this, man. As an agent, right? We had 1.7 million agents. You put a sign in the yard, you put on the MLS, your offers right in your inbox.
Sit back like this.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going on vacation. I'll be back, right? Like, it was that easy. And let's just keep it real. It was. And as well as I know, we call expireds all the time. You're on expireds. We talk about it all the time. Like, what do you hear from everybody? You can look at the photos. You can look at the pricing. You can look at the description. You can look at the confidential comments. You can see there's no disclosures or reports, and you can see why houses sat on the market, right? And you can see it. And so it's like, we just want to make sure we do our due diligence for our clients to make sure they know, like, listen, we want to look at the data. We track the data. We look at every single option. We have clients right now that wanted to go on the market 2 weeks ago. We're like, no, stop. The 10-year is dropping. Rates are coming down. We're going to stop you. They're like, but we want to go on the market. I'm like, trust me. And they're like, you're not going to let me put my house on the market right now. I go, no, I'm not going to let you lose $20,000 because you want to go on the market. I'm going to slow us down to speed us up. And they're like, we went to the open house this week, and they're like, oh, man, it was awesome. I'm like, I told you, now let's get some offers like we promised. So let's finish the job, right? So it's just, sometimes those are the way things work in general. So I'll give you a little feedback, hopefully answer the question that you asked and all that good stuff for you, but pretty standard there for sure.
And that's one of the reasons why we do it as well, so we can sell it as is. Because at the end of the day, a seller, you don't want to sell it doing your repairs. They're not going to do the best quality. They're just going to do whatever is necessary to get it passed.
Correct. And you rather take the house as is and know what you have to do at the end of the day, and know that I want my people to come in there and do it, right? Because As a buyer, I don't get to
Exactly.
tell the seller who they have to use. The seller can use whoever they want. They can use
No.
themselves if they want. If they want to become an electrician and become an electrician today, they can do that, right? We can't stop them. So the reality of it, yes, you want to kind of get it as is for sure, 100%, as is.
Love that. So that's one of the reasons why we're able to sell with no contingency. Everything's as is.
I love it. I love it. So it's good. So question for you now. This is actually just a me question. So is there a difference for you with the auctioning on price points? Like, is this something that you would see happen in the $3 to $5 million price point as well as the $500 to $1 million price point? Or is there kind of a bucket where this really works really good in?
So I love this question because I'm probably going to give you a different answer than most other auctioneers or most people in general. I know everyone loves doing the high end because you make more money. I love doing the low end because I get to meet more people. And it's a bigger buyer pool, and it's more fun, right? As we call it in the industry, the bread and butter of our industry, right?
And absolutely.
That million, for me, the magic $1 million mark is always where we see the most activity. You have the biggest buyer pool, and you're still a conventional loan if you're, depending where you're located. Once you start getting into jumbo loans, that's when it starts changing. When you start getting into the ultra luxury, this is a great tool as well, because how do you put a value on something that is unique and one of a kind? It's going to be beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's what someone's willing to pay. And the reason why I say is, like, I used to sell views in Australia. That's what I did. I didn't go wide. I went up. We had high rises, 24 to 40 stories high. And if I couldn't walk to my listings, we wouldn't take it. But every level, I'm serious. If I couldn't walk to it, I'm not taking it. I didn't need it. There was 5,000 homes within walking distance of where my office was.
Yeah. You're like, this is my this is my farm right here.
Walk up and down the street every day for 10 years. So we do that, but every level had a different price. And sometimes the lower levels put a higher price for the view than too high. Because if you're too high, you couldn't see the view from your lounge room. You had to go to your balcony and look down. So it was interesting for me. That's where I learned that value should never be dictated by someone who is not buying the product. Value should be dictated by what someone is prepared to pay to have the usage and the accessibility of the product. So ultra high end is extremely beneficial to go to auction because it does give everyone a fair chance to tell us what they feel is value. And in the lower end, when you've got competition, it gives everyone a fair chance to have a chance to bid against each other. Not submit your offers and we might get to them, we might not get to them. We've got so many, we can't counter everybody. It sometimes can be a drama and a nightmare for the agent as well. It's hard because if you got 20 offers, Chris, and you call the first person, by the time you call the 20th person, that first person's probably had a good hour to decide whether they want to up their offer or not.
Yeah.
And they've got an advantage over the person you called 20th. Not your fault. You just can't call 20 people at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Right. But you can with an auction.
You can. You're right there.
Because they're all in front of it. They're all in front of each other. And I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, first call, $1 million. Second call at $1 million. About to go. Quick, don't miss out now. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Yeah, all right, F this. One more.
I love it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. One more. We're at $1,010,000 now. $1,010,000. That's that last chance that so many people did not get during COVID.
No.
The amount of buyers I met that missed out on a home by $500 because they're in a lot of people, especially in Southern California. I'm not sure if it was exactly like this in Northern California, but everything was a best and final scenario down here. The highest and best, whatever you want to call it. So you submit your highest and your best by Tuesday, 5 o'clock. Well, I ring my buyer's agent as a buyer and I say, okay, Chris, the asking price is $1 million. I've got up to 1.2. They're asking for highest and best. What do I put down? That's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
How do you know what to put down? I don't want to pay, but hey, Chris, but I don't want to pay too much. It better appraise. No pressure.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? You don't know. You might put in, okay, look, Simon, let's put down 1,105,000 and it ends up selling for 1,110,000. And I'm like, oh, Chris, I would have gone more. I told you I could go to 1.2.
Yeah.
You didn't get me the house. That doesn't happen in our scenario because everyone gets that last chance to make that one final bid. I do speak quickly as my profession. It makes me do that, right? But I do slow it down at the times I need to make people aware of the opportunity that's in front of them at that time.
Yeah, because at least you have that chance. And I think more buyers
have their attention.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think in all honesty, no, I think you nailed it. I think people would rather have that chance and know that I had the chance than to have the unknown. Nobody likes the unknown, right? Well, what would I would have won if I did this, that, and the other. It's like, we all would have. We got as much information from that listing agent as we could about the seller, this, that, and this. We give that information to you. We give you the guidance we basically can give you, but it comes down to your comfort level of how much you're willing to pay for the house. We can't dictate that, right? Like, it's not our job.
Absolutely.
To say you have to pay 1.2 for this house. Like, we're not. That's not our job. Our job is to guide you, right? But I would think, and actually, I know for sure, every buyer in some aspects would rather know, could I just give me my last opportunity to know what the highest price is? And if I want to come up, I'll be more than happy to do it. I think more people would come up on their price. I think more people would actually come up to the price that they're willing to pay and actually say, no, my best and final is actually here, but I always want to start here because I just want to feel like I'm winning, right? But you didn't win. You didn't win here. You lost the house, and now you're back on the market looking for another property, which you might have came here if you knew this is what it was going to take. So I actually think it's awesome, men in general. I think it's great.
Think about the thing that everyone doesn't think about, though. What would your seller do if you were able to get him an extra $5,000?
Well, they'd be happy.
They're going to tell everybody.
Everybody, for sure.
That's the best marketing you could ever ask for, Chris.
They're like,
right? You've just done a phenomenal job, and then they're going to go, you know what, that Chris, he didn't just get me what I wanted. He got me an extra $5,000. He kept pushing. He kept pushing. How, if I get an extra $500, what's a nice dinner out?
Oh, hey, $500 all day long.
Go to Mastro's or wherever you want to go, and have a great evening. And that's the type of response we achieve, and that's the results we achieve, and that's the response we often get back is the sellers raving about us after that. But like, wow, the auctioneer kept going. He had the money that we had already accepted, but he kept going to get us a little bit more. And that's the point of difference that we show and tell our sellers when we're meeting with them is, look, we can get you that little bit extra. I don't know how much it's going to be because I don't know who the client's going to be yet. But if we can get the right two people, normally two males, because we have this thing called an ego, that really hurts. Right? And there are some females, but they're mainly males. And we don't want to lose. I don't want to lose.
Yeah.
So if I bought my home in Australia by auction, and the reason why I won is one, I'm an auctioneer, and I was never going to be seen to be losing if I'm an auctioneer.
Yeah, this doesn't work very well for your resume.
My first bid was $30,000 over my budget. Because again, I'm a competitive guy and I wanted to win. I wanted that house. Like you said before, I wanted that house. I was going to win it no matter what was going to happen. And the motivation for me was the more I paid, the harder I had to work to make sure I could pay it.
Yeah, I love it.
So
I love it, man.
that's how I was.
Okay, I have a question. Because now I'm like, I want to watch one of these auctions. I'm going to come watch one of these, and I'm bringing my film team down there. We're going to have fun. The whole 9 yards. I'm thinking my mind is just spinning like normal. But let me ask you, do you ever have sellers there, right, when you're auctioning? Like,
absolutely. I want them there. I want them there.
That's awesome.
One, I want them to see what the market is doing at that exact time, not trying to relay it back.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful thing, Chris. And I'm not saying this to bash down sellers, but it's a great educational tool for a seller to realize the true market value is on their property. Hey, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we just took your property to a live auction where the market showed us what they are prepared to pay for your property at this exact moment in time. They've all put 3% down, and they're all signed off on the terms and conditions and the bidder's registration saying they are ready to sign a non-contingent contract. Now, I know you wanted 1.2, we're at 1,150,000. What do you want to do?
I love it.
They will often take that number because they've realized and then the number that they wanted might have been a little bit unrealistic.
Yeah, it wasn't there. They thought they can get there. They would love it. But the reality sat in. Here's what they're willing to pay you. Are you going to walk away from this? And they're like, no, I'm not. Let's wrap it up and go. And like you said, it's a non-contingent offer. It's basically closed at this point. Their EMD's already in, right? Like it's correct. They're good. Like this is not like, let me think about it. I've already done my due diligence. So it's, hey, go take your vacation. You're good. You're fine. So no.
As soon as I say sold, we're done. Like that's the biggest thing now. I just lost my whole train of thought. I was going to say something else. I just lost the whole thing. Don't worry about that. Scrap that.
It happens, man. We talk fast. Both of us. We're like, my mind's like, Like, I got so many ideas right now. I'm all, how do we bring this up to Northern California? We want to be the first one. How do we do this? How do we do that? All right, we're going to have to get Simon up here. Oh, yeah, let's do it.
When to book that flight, I'm back on that flight.
Oh, dude, I'm going to have you up here.
I'm up in Walnut Creek last week, and I told you, I love the area. I was really, really impressed with your communities up there. Beautiful people.
Yeah.
And I'm licensed there already, so I don't have to jump through any more hoops to get licensed to work with you. I'm ready to go.
All right.
I'd love to be able to imagine this, Chris. Imagine if we listed 10 properties in a month with your team and we called them all in one night. You opened 10 escrows in one night.
I'm ready.
What would that do for your business?
That would be amazing. Hey, so that's cool.
And it also gives you structure in your business, because you know that every Wednesday or Saturday or every Thursday and Sunday or whatever days you pick for your open houses, they're already set. So it doesn't disrupt your prospecting time or your appointment time, because you've got a set schedule. And it also shows the seller that you have a plan, a system, if you will, and you stick to that. You are regimented, because you do get results. You're not a part-time agent. You're a legitimate.
Absolutely no systems. I love systems. You had me sold at systems.
Yeah. I know you are.
I'm all systemized. If we can make people's lives, we don't know exactly what it's going to be like every single week. I mean, why would you say no to that, right? Like at the end of the day. No, that's awesome, man. What I'll do is we'll chat offline about this stuff for sure in the future, but I'll talk to the ownership team, man. We'll get you dialed in, and absolutely 100%. We got a Silicon Valley branch too. We got 2 markets that are working in the Sacramento market. We're going to have Northern California ready to go. So I love it. I love it, man.
Well, let's link up and link north with south. Let's end this rivalry.
Let's end it. Well, hold on. No. Hey, sports teams, man. No, this is Northern California, all right? We're not a Rams, we're not a LA. No.
I'm on a Rams. I'm not a 41er.
Oh, shots fired. Shots fired. That's it. I'm kidding. I know. It's all good. All fun, man.
I got told when I moved here, I got given a Chargers jersey, and I was told, hey, you're now a Chargers fan. I didn't get the choice. I did not get a choice.
It's funny about this, Simon. It's kind of how it works.
Losing team from day one. So I'm just kind of accustomed to losing in sport.
You know what? I got to give it to them. I mean, California in general, as a whole, I mean, if you think about it, sports-wise, we're pretty blessed in general with teams.
Absolutely.
We talk about it from the Niners, the Warriors. I mean, we had the Raiders. They cheated on us 3 times. They moved to Las Vegas. But the A's, then you got the Lakers, you got the Padres, you got the Dodgers, right? You got the Chargers coming around. I mean, and beautiful weather, beautiful people, right? Yes, there's some negatives in California, but as a whole, we're pretty blessed in general, right? We got to say that.
I wouldn't live anywhere else in the United States.
Yeah,
it's worth the money, right? It's same as this is actually, believe it or not, cheaper than living in Sydney.
That's crazy. It's cheaper than living in Sydney. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you pay $10 for a coffee there.
I'm making more coffee.
You're paying $25 for a salad. So I come here and
you're all
amazing.
This is like a discount double check State Farm commercial. I'm ready.
Valet, you really have a couple of places that do valet. You'll be paying anywhere between $50 to $70 for valet.
Wow.
So when I came here and saw people doing it for free, I'm like, sorry, what?
Yeah, excuse me.
You're going to park my car for free?
Yeah.
Here's a tip. Here's more. Just take.
Yeah, take my money. I'm living life.
Everything we see is through our own perspective, and we only know what we know. And it's unfortunate that some people never get to experience what the benefits are of a different location because they can't get out of that trap. Our job's to help them get out of that and live a better life, offer them an opportunity, and have some fun doing it. So many of my friends, I go everywhere now, and everyone says to me, "Oh, everyone knows you." Right? I literally get stopped in the street. You're the what's up guy.
Yeah.
Sure. I came here, like you said, I didn't know one person.
Yeah.
I had to push myself. I'm generally, believe it or not, you probably don't. I'm a shy guy. The suit gives me confidence.
It does.
In normal clothes, I'm really shy, and I mean, I'm scared. I don't know anyone, and I don't want to be judged. And I always worried about what other people thought about me.
Yeah. Until
I realized that I had a new why, which was my kids, and I had to push myself to give them a better future. That made me meet people, talk to people. It made me talk to you. I joined Tom Ferry, not just for the coaching, to be honest with you. That was probably the lowest component of the Tom Ferry organization I joined for. I joined for the networking,
the
people to meet, the community that we're a part of, the ecosystem and the family group, the way it has to, I want to give you a quick plug here. Chris, the way you support everyone in our circle is so humbling and mind blowing to me. It's something I haven't seen in a long time. You know, people that genuinely care about, genuinely care about other people, not just themselves all the time. So I want to say thank you, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are very grateful for you and the opportunities that you've allowed them to be presented with. So
I appreciate
thank you, man. You're destroying it out there in the market. I love what you're doing. You're disrupting them. I've got another toy for you to play with. Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun.
Make some money, and let's celebrate.
Let's do it, Simon, man. Well, I appreciate you hopping on today, guys. Hey, everyone who's listening to $1 Million Listening, thank you for tuning in to us. If you guys want to know Simon, tell them where you're located one more time, because listen, he's the man. Him and Christina are phenomenal down there. Where the location is, where should we send them, so they know if I'm buying real estate in this area, there's only one person to call.
Okay, so I'm located headquarters out in Newport Beach, California, Orange County. But the best way to get a hold of me is connectwithsimon.com. Just think, connectwithsimon.com. All my social media. Instagram's a great way to connect with me. I'm very affluent on that. YouTube, or my phone number directly. Call me directly. Don't email me. It won't get to me quick enough. Call me. And I'm old-fashioned.
He's old-fashioned. He likes to phone.
For a reason. It's not. I mean, no one calls these a text. They're not called texts. They're called phones, because you phone people. Don't text them.
I love it. I love it. Well, Simon, man, we appreciate you getting on, man. Once again, we'll get offline. We'll talk. We'll link up and get things dialed in, man. But I appreciate you. Everything you're doing, guys. Listen, you talk about the American dream. You talk about coming here with nothing. You talk about just taking risks, taking fear. You know, just taking that leap of faith and going after it, man. Simon, you embodied that, and we have to give you love and appreciation for that, man, because it's phenomenal to hear the story and hear where you've come from and your beautiful family and everything else that you got going on, man. I wish you nothing but great blessings. And like I said, we'll talk soon offline. I appreciate you so much, man.